Hello and welcome to video 5 of the Licensing Education Series by AIC, a partner of American Senior Benefits. These videos should be used in addition to your study material, not as a replacement. If you've already started your study material, that's okay. These videos will still make it easier to retain the information. Now please watch each video all the way through once without taking notes, and then go back and take notes. You'll find that you retain more information that way. If there are any topics that you'd like me to do a deeper dive into, please comment and tell me the specific information you want me to go over. Thanks for attending, and let's get started. The types of life insurance I'm going to go over in this video are the flexible policies. There are 4 types of flexible policies. The first 2 insurance producers with a life license can sell, and the second 2 are considered securities, so you'd have to have an additional license called a securities license to sell those. So the first type is adjustable life. Adjustable life allows a policyholder to adjust the premium or the face value without having to buy a new policy, like they would if they had whole life. This works by combining term and whole into one policy. Remember, term costs a lot less than whole, but it doesn't have cash value and isn't permanent. So the policyholder with adjustable life can convert whole to term and term to whole inside the policy. And what that does is allows the client to increase the face value by converting to more term, decrease the face value by converting to more whole life, decrease the premium by converting to more term, or increase the premium by converting to more whole life. So how that looks is this. Inside the policy there's a whole life and a term, and you pay a premium, right? Well, the whole life costs more. So if you want more whole life with more living benefit, cash value, then you could decrease the amount of term and increase the amount of whole life, and that would increase your premium because you're getting more benefits from those permanent life and the cash value, or for the living benefits and the cash value. If you want more coverage or you want to just lower your cost, you can increase the amount of term. Either increase it without decreasing the whole life, or increase the term and decrease the whole life, which would drop your premium. So for example, let's say a client bought an adjustable life that's term heavy, so they have a lot of death benefit in case they die before the kids are out of the house. Now the kids are all grown. Well, the client can now convert some or all of that term component to the permanent life. It'll lower the face value or increase the premium, but it will now last age 100 or 121, at which point it endows, and they gain that cash value and living benefit component. The second type of flexible policy is called universal life. Most people call them ULs. Universal life is the most complicated type of life insurance you're allowed to sell. Every part of it's flexible, from the premium to the face amount, the amount of cash value accumulation, how long the policy is in force, whether it has a level or increasing face value. You can even decrease the face value over time, how the cash value accumulates, whether it's indexed or fixed. Basically, if the client wants to change something about this type of policy, it's probably allowed. How this works is that, unlike with whole life, the face value and premium are not fixed. When you buy whole life, everything is set in stone, and one premium is paid that funds the policy as a whole, not part of it to cost of insurance and part to cash value. With whole life, the cash value is all calculated ahead of time and set in stone. When you buy the universal life, nothing's set in stone. So the amount of premium that's paid on a UL is separated into 2 parts. So the premium is split. One part goes to the cost of insurance, and that pays for a kind of a permanent annually renewable term, and the other part goes to cash value. And the ability to control how much goes to each of these parts allows for all that flexibility. So with a UL, the way that the standard way they're designed is it has either a level death benefit, which is option A or option 1, or an increasing death benefit, which is option B or option 2. Depends on what company's doing it. It has a cash value that grows at first and then declines until at age 100 or 121, cash value equals 0. And there is a premium that you pay called a modal premium. And the modal premium is the amount that you pay to keep the policy in force as it's designed. Well, by changing cash value and cost of insurance amounts, if I decrease the cost of insurance or the premium in general, you're either going to have to lower the face value, switch from increasing death benefit to level death benefit, or you're going to have less cash value accumulation, which means it will actually end earlier. You can design these policies to kind of mimic a term life policy by having it last for only a certain amount of years. Or you can also increase the premium. Let's say you don't like the fact that the cash value is going to end, you want living benefits, you want cash value accumulation. Well, you can just increase the premium so the cash value grows. Or you can increase the premium to increase your death benefit. Now, if you increase death benefit, you may have to do additional underwriting. It depends on how much you're increasing it. Or if it's going to end early and you increase your premium, you can make it last longer. So adjusting that premium up and down, you can do pretty much anything with this policy. That option of increasing and decreasing, there's almost always a question on the test about that. So understand option A or option 1 is level, option B or 2 would be an increasing death benefit. Now, one other possibility with UL, since everything is flexible, is that you accumulate cash value at a higher rate than what the death benefit what the death benefit needs. So if you have a situation where you have a death benefit or face value, and your cash value is accumulating and it's going to pass the face value, well, that's not allowed because that's not insurance anymore, right? So the face value, if it's $100,000 and you have $150,000 in the policy, there's no insurance. The insurance company is not at risk for anything. So what ends up happening is something called a corridor is created, and when that cash value starts approaching the face value, there's a complicated calculation that tells the insurance company how much insurance they have to have relative to the amount of cash value in the policy. So basically, it just ends up making a face value that kind of tracks along with that cash value. And that space between the face value and the cash value is called the corridor. And this prevents the client from having too much cash value in relation to the face value. So how does cash value grow in a universal life? Well, there's really two ways. There's fixed and there's indexed. Fixed means the interest is declared by the insurance company for that year. There's a minimum it can't go below each year called the contract rate, or sometimes the minimum guaranteed rate. The amount the client gets paid is called the current rate. So the contract rate and the minimum is the same thing. That's what it can't fall below. Current is actually what the company's giving that person that year. The current rate will always be at or above the minimum guaranteed interest rate. The other way is by using an indexed rate. The company uses one of the stock market indexes or indices. You'll hear it both ways. Both are correct. So stock market indexes or indices. Like, for example, the S&P 500. That may be the one you're most familiar with. There are a lot of other indices, but S&P 500 is the most common. So the company will use something like the S&P 500 to determine how much interest they're going to credit to the policy. Now, to be clear, the cash value is not invested in the stock market. The company just uses the index to determine the amount of interest that will be credited. These policies are usually called indexed universal lives, or IULs. You may rarely see them called equity indexed life insurance, but these days most people call them IULs. By using an index crediting method, the client may see bigger gains in the cash value than with fixed interest, but may also get zero interest in some years since there's no contract rate in most of those policies. However, unlike with a security, the interest may never be negative, which means that with this type of policy, the client can get some growth when the stock market's up, but will never suffer losses due to a market downturn. We say that zero's hero. When you're in the market, you have a risk of market loss, losing your money. In this, you can never go negative. There are two other types of flexible policies, variable life and variable universal life. Both of those, as I said earlier, require you to have a securities license to sell, and that's because the cash value in those variable policies is directly invested in the stock market. That means it can go up, but it can also go down. There is a minimum guaranteed death benefit, but there is no guarantee on the cash value. Also, the cash value part of the premium cannot be deposited in the general account of the insurance company. It has to be kept in a separate account. So variables have to be kept in a separate account, and that separate account is used to purchase the securities. There's a term for combining the money that's supposed to go in the separate account of securities with the general funds. It's called commingling. Sometimes that's on the test, but commingling means mixing the money from the securities and the non-securities money, and that would be something the insurer would do. It's illegal. Don't do that. Anytime you see the word variable, just remember that it's a security. Agents frequently confuse the word flexible with variable, especially at first. You know, you're talking about a universal life. They say, well, you know, the face value is variable. No, that it's flexible. It's not variable. Variable specifically in insurance means it's a security. Okay, so that is flexible life insurance. There's a lot more detail. Don't get bogged down in it about how crediting works with caps and participations. If you want to know, let me know. I will do a video on it. But these are the basics. The next video I do is going to be on less usual types of insurance. Please like and subscribe so you'll get notified when new educational videos are released. And thanks for watching.